Hopefully at this point we already have notes out. Homework has been collected. Notes for today are going to be super piece of cake as long as you are okay with the homework from last night. So I am in the building, remember, for professional development, so I might stop by. I'm not sure if I'll get an opportunity or a break too, but if I can get a chance, I'll swing up and check in and make sure that we're doing okay. But our objective today is going to be that we can factor out a GCF. So now not only do we want to find a GCF, but we want to factor out a GCF. So we're going to factor out the greatest common factor. If we want to factor out a greatest common factor, that's all going to be based on the fact of if we can find a greatest common factor. So factoring out a GCF works for any number of terms. Okay, we can do this whether we have 2 terms, whether we have 10 terms, whether we have 100 terms. And that's not going to seem super important today, but as we continue out throughout this unit, it's going to be important that we understand that we can always try and factor out a GCF no matter how many terms that there are. So we're going to start with a problem today that looks almost exactly like what we saw yesterday, but instead of there being an and in between, like this was on our homework, it's now going to have an addition or a subtraction sign in between. And we are going to do the exact same thing that we did yesterday. So we're still going to look at this. We're going to ignore this sign for the time being. We're going to say, okay, 25 and 15. What is a number we can think of that will go into both of them? Well, they're both divisible by 5. So 25 divided by 5 is 5. 15 divided by 5 is 3. They don't both have the variables, so that x is going to come with it. But now instead of a comma or the word and, I'm going to bring down that addition sign. Okay, then I'm going to check again. What goes into 5x? That will also go into 3. I can't go any further. The only option there is a 1. So I know that my GCF is 5. But now instead of just saying, okay, my GCF is 5, right? This is what we would have done for the homework. Our GCF was just 5, right? Now we're going to take what we have left over and we're going to wrap it in parentheses, keeping in mind that parentheses group something and tell us we can multiply by something that's sitting in front of it. And we are going to pull this GCF out in front and write the 5 down here. Because when we factor, what we really are saying is that we want to represent the original problem in a new way. So if I wanted to prime factor 10, 10 would split into 2 times 5. Okay, if I want to factor 25x plus 15, it's 5 times 5x plus 3. And if I wanted to see if this was correct, I could distribute, and I would go back to my original problem. I'm literally undoing what we did with polynomials last trimester. Okay, so last trimester we started here and we would multiply and it would take us here. Now we're going to start here and it's going to take us to its factored format. This is our factored answer. So really, other than putting in some parentheses and writing a GCF in front, we're not doing much different today. So let's look at another problem. Maybe we have 44 x to the 5th minus 28 x squared. So again, just like yesterday, we'd ask ourselves, what goes into 44 that will also go into 28? Well, I could try 4. Do they both have the variable? Yes. So I'm going to pick the smaller exponent. And then I'm going to divide that out. So 44 divided by 4 is 11. 5 minus 2 is 3. 28 divided by 4 is 7. 2 minus 2 just cancels out and goes away. So now I'll check again. Anything go into 11, that will also go into 7. No, right? It's really a 1, but no. So our GCF is 4x squared. So I'm going to put that in parentheses and write my GCF out in front. And that is my factored answer. Now these can be longer, these can be shorter. We can get bigger or smaller numbers. We can have multiple variables. But the concept is still going to be the same. So let's say we have 20 x to the 5th, y to the 3rd, plus 40 x squared, y squared, minus 80 x to the 3rd y. Okay, and we want to factor out the GCF. Now, I'm just going to pretend, I think most of you would probably look at this and find 20, but for whatever reason, let's just say you look at it and you only saw 10, which would be fine if you only saw 10. Just like we did yesterday, we then looked, do they all have the x? The smaller exponent is 2. Do they all have the y? The smallest exponent is 1. So we would divide that out. 20 divided by 10 is 2. We'll subtract the exponents. 5 minus 2 is 3. 3 minus 1 is 2. 40 divided by 10 is 4. 2 minus 2 cancels out. 2 minus 1 is 1. 80 divided by 10 is 8. 3 minus 2 is 1. 1 minus 1 cancels out. Okay, again, we're going to check again. I check. Now I see that I can divide out of 2. I don't have any variables right. As long as I got those right the first time, I shouldn't have to do that again. So that leaves me, you could write the 1 there, though you don't need it. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. I can't go any further. 1, 2, and 4, right? Only has a GCF of 1. So now I'm going to take these two and multiply them together. And now, again, my GCF is just the multiple of both of those, which is 20 x squared y. So I'll write that out in front. And there is my final answer. So really, as long as you can find a GCF, you're good to go. So here in just a moment, you are going to receive a sheet of paper and some stickers. Okay, your job is going to be to take those stickers and to match up the solutions with the answers. So you'll pull off sticker 1, you'll stick it on the sheet of paper, you will show all of your work, and then you're going to find the sticker that matches that answer, and you'll put it in the answer for that number. Okay, if you don't find a sticker that matches, that means you did something wrong. So go back, check your work. I'm trying to use that so you know if you made a mistake so you can catch it. You are welcome to listen to music. You know our rules. Your devices need to be put away and or face down. You are welcome to work with a partner, but this is not like I'll do half, you do half. I need to see work on everyone's paper. Okay, when you're finished, you're going to turn that into the tray, and then your homework is from the textbook. It is posted on Canvas. So if you finish, you're going to pull that out and you're going to work on your homework, which is due tomorrow. If I don't see you, have a great rest of the day. I will see you all in class tomorrow.